Hey guys, welcome back to part 3 of the Shoutout's Advanced Guide. In this video, I'm going to cover routing fundamentals for mainly advanced players. That being said, if you don't know the basics of route PvP, you should go watch Dogs Are Life's beginner intermediate tutorial. I'll probably have it somewhere in the description or on the screen. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. So the first concept that I'm going to cover is Desync, which is why your rods actually work and why they actually benefit you in the first place. So basically it's whoever moves faster has longer reach, so you can skip to the end of this segment if you already know how it works, but I'm going to explain it real quick. So in short, it's just mismatched prediction data between Hypixel and other clients. So it's impossible for Hypixel to have real-time data on player movement, so it approximates once every 50 milliseconds and makes predictions for the future. So for example, if player A is sprinting forward and player B is stationary, then the server sends information to player B's client, which predicts the position of player A in advance. However, this information is almost never completely accurate when there's a significant speed difference between the players. For player B's screen looks like player A is a lot further away than they actually are, while both player A's client and the server agree on a location close to player B. Because of this, player A can get a hit while player B cannot. So there are 3 main types of rods that you can throw at your opponent. The first one is a combo rod. A combo rod is thrown to initiate or enhance the effectiveness of combos. This rod is usually thrown right before going in for a sword swing, and if done correctly, this will initiate a combo rather than a trade. This can also be thrown as an intermediary rod for a rod trick when you have pressure and are near your opponent. The second type of rod is a control rod. A control rod is used to control the movement of your opponent. These are normally thrown multiple at a time to keep your opponent as stationary for as long as possible or do what you need. Timing is crucial for these. You have to get a majority in the perfect window right after the hit cooldown in order to completely lock your opponent in their position. This can also be used defensively when escaping, just by timing rods and going backward, controlling the space between you and your opponent. The third and final type of rod is a movement killer. These are generally thrown one at a time to do one thing: kill your opponent's movement and win a trade. These are highly effective against high ping players because they are often impossible to move or combo, so by throwing this rod and being close by, you can win a trade more times than not. Now that you know these rod types, you can more easily analyze your games as well as build up responses to certain movements and memorize them. The next topic that we're going to cover is prediction for your rods. Many advanced players dodge rods like this, where player A casts a rod which must miss, and then player B goes to the spot where the rod was initially cast. This usually works for 2 reasons. One is that this is relatively fast switching, and when combined with reaction time and ping, without proper prediction, your opponent cannot really switch in time to still defend the attack with the rod. The second reason is that most players don't throw 2 rods in the same place. They expect some movement from the player, and this is actually a very viable method for dodging rods. However, if used while the pressure is on the person dodging, they can easily be exploited. You can either cast 2 rods in the same place, or disregard the rods altogether if you have a good amount of pressure. There is one more thing that you can do with this, however. You can miss your own rods on purpose. Yes, so if you know your opponent's rod dodging and strafing pattern, you can bait them into falling into that pattern. Look at this situation for example. See if you can find the pattern. Three times my opponent moved into a place of the previously thrown rod. The same dodging pattern that was just demonstrated. Now that you know this as a player, you can miss your rod to move your opponent without even touching them. If you want to get them closer to a border or set yourself up to hit them into lava, then this is a perfect opportunity. In this game, however, I did absolutely nothing with it and threw myself into lava. Awesome. Just to wrap up the video, here's a couple things to keep in mind. One is that you shouldn't be rodding more than once per second if you can't aim well. An average rod throw of once a second should suffice if you know what to do with it, and it's much easier to aim with that. Once you care more about the quality over the quantity, your gameplay skyrockets. The last thing is that if you're less than 5 to 6 blocks away, consider just going in with your sword, because rodding at such a close range makes it very easy to mess up and get punished for it. Shout out to snaphacks who taught me a couple of these concepts, and to the people in the video who are helping me demonstrate. If you have any questions, I'll answer them in the comments below. Bye.